went to Arizona State.
Rod.
I'm a Sun Devil, man.
The 27-yard line. That's a great call, too. Blake Baker, Plummer will put it up, throws over the middle. Poole, touchdown. Quick flag.
3rd down and 5. 11 switches to Scatterboom. Scatterboom breaks defenders. Here he goes again. Scatterboom is the running back, and he is immediately met in the backfield, runs through the contact, and then throws a shoulder for good measure. Revenge on this team this year. That is true. High in the air. Right center field. Brandon Compton. Welcome to 2025. The other way. Still going back. That's the drag. Walks up and down.
Edwards pulls off and buries it. Richardson drives out for Robbie Ryan. Hurt 3 right on the money.
Takes his shot for Darby. Flag out. Doesn't matter. Touchdown.
Wish the Haps, my Pitchfork Lunch peeps. Happy Memorial Day to all. Yes, celebrating all the veterans out there. Just a quick message. Pitchfork Lunch, obviously, as you see, not live today for Memorial Day, as, again, we honor the vets. And obviously, Sun Devils have had many veterans. And, yes, we know what the amazing sacrifice, obviously, Pat Tillman, the Tillman Foundation, but on a day where, again, honoring vets and just being around family and friends. So not a live Pitchfork Lunch. Just wanted to get this message out there again, because a huge shout outs to all the military families of those who have, again, sacrificed so much, and their loved ones have sacrificed so much that, it's always, again, a day, every day is a remembrance day for these families, but Memorial Day, again, just highlighting it and in the forefront again. So nothing but obviously respect and love and just gratitude towards service members, veterans, families that have, again, like I said, gone through just on a daily basis, go through the sacrifice with obviously active members of the military, but for those that have lost their lives defending this country, defending the freedom. Again, it is Memorial Day, and obviously I know, Veterans Day, but it's always all bigger than just one day. And for those, like I said, that have served, that has family, as I do, that has served, and just hearing, again, growing up hearing stories about what it was like, being on the other end of that. And, I smile because it's just strength all around. Talk about courage, you talk about bravery, and yes, and in sports, we hear it a lot, and we've heard it for, it's just one of those, a lot of the, adages that have like gone with it, like being heroic and, in a sports setting. And it's just truly at a whole different level. And a lot of people, people understand that. I'm not saying they don't. And yes, it is, you can say, you can correlate, you can relate things, but yeah, for the families, for the service members first and foremost, that have been out in the battlefields, that have fought the fights, that have again sacrificed their lives for a greater good and something bigger than themselves. And yes, I know these are messages we hear in sports, but thinking about it obviously on the biggest stage. Again, thank you to all veterans, and thank you to all military members, but all veterans, and all who have sacrificed their life for the freedoms of this country. And I mean, that's one of the a lot of obviously the post, when you see certain posts and things, but the saying, freedom isn't free. People sacrificing their lives for, something bigger than themselves, and fighting for what they believe in, and fighting for, right, wrong, or indifferent, the ideology of something. But these service members, these men and women that have put their lives on the line, and for those that have, obviously those that have lost their lives, I've always heard, in talking to veterans and stuff, people say, thank you for, when you see them, and people say, thank you for your service. And I don't know if thank you is a big enough phrase. Yes, gratitude absolutely is. But again, getting to do, being in school, playing sports, going to college, doing, shows like this, the people that have put their lives in harm's way, and throughout the years and throughout the generations that have sacrificed their lives, and and also to the military members that come home and struggle with PTSD, and just the toll that being in battle can take on you. Well, Memorial Day, again, honoring those that lost their lives. And if you've been to a national monument, like I've always said, if you do see a service member, thank them for their service. In doing it. And it's, not for, and like, people say, it's not, it is a way of life. And, why people serve. And like I said, people like, oh, maybe they were, you always hear different stories about why, people serve, but the overwhelming ringing message is for, believing in something, and going out there, and like you said, doing something for something bigger than themselves, and defending, our country, people in need anywhere in the world. And it's, yeah, I know it is tough times, but to the military members, again, serving, thank you for the military families. And like I said, all the generations that have served, and in what they believe in, and, for, again, something bigger than themselves, that have lost their lives, that have paid that ultimate sacrifice. Thank you for your service, families. Thank you for your sacrifice as well, too, knowing how each day is tougher and tougher. But it is, again, a great honor to, like I said, what Pat Tillman means to a lot of people, hugely. But I mean, him obviously having been at ASU, and you hear every year Pat's run getting bigger and bigger, and like younger children, you see kids running it, and they're with their parents, and not, I mean, some, in the kids race, but you see some kids just running it with, their parents, but talking, you see the parents talking, to the kids. They see the Tillman statue as they're walking out of the stadium, Tillman Tunnel, where obviously the players come by it every single game. And, it's, to keep that tradition going. That is how, again, to honor. I mean, you see in history, you talk about, well, in learning history and stuff, and talking about obviously World War, obviously World War I, but I mean, as you get old, like World War II, and like that generation of soldiers and what was again happening in the world, but just that desire to serve, desire to protect. And I mean, Pat Tillman's, again, I've played it here before, his messages, talking about how he's had family that served, and he goes, I haven't really done a damn thing, he goes on that front. And then after 9/11, he enlists, and it's just that sense of being a patriot. And we've anybody I've talked to about Pat Tillman, I mean, that knew him, talked about that, and has mentioned that. And it's just one of those things where multiply that out by people that have served and have battled and sacrificed, again, being away from their family, but standing up for what's right. And these families, like I said, all the military members, obviously, with sacrifice, knowing what they could be doing, could cost them the ultimate in their life, defending it. And on Memorial Day, we remember all the service members, men and women, again, that have passed, and fighting for this country. And to the active members too, again, thank you for what you do. Families, thank you for the sacrifice that you're making, and that it's just it'll always hit home more for them. And it's tougher and tougher. And when you lose somebody, again, it never, and not that anybody wants it to, we always hear people say, as time goes on, it gets easier. It truly never gets easier. Again, when you lose family members, anything, it truly never gets easier. But for all that have sacrificed their lives throughout the history, military-wise, all that have sacrificed their lives, thank you for defending our country, our freedoms, making that sacrifice. To those that are in there doing it now, of course, thank you. And to, again, all the families, nothing but prayers and support and love to you for the sacrifices that your loved ones have made and that you have lost on this Memorial Day. But so, like I said, not the traditional pitchfork lunch, as I was just setting this out there. But in transition and honoring, softball season came to an end. He saw it. They beat Texas on Friday night. So very, very, very stoked about that. And then Saturday they were up. Almost got that super regional in two. But Texas, as we know, the national seed, a very talented team, was able to battle back Saturday and win by one. And then yesterday, go up 2-0, and then late in the game, make it 5-0, or actually, in the bottom of the sixth, make it 5-0. And ASU again, couldn't, they battled. And again, man, forks up to this team. We've been out, obviously, you guys know, Pitchfork Lunch has definitely been out to softball, covered, had players on, obviously Coach Bartlett and her staff. Again, forks up to Coach Bartlett and the staff, as they have just, again, this is her fourth season, and by the third season, they were in regionals, and this year won the regional to super regionals, and literally one game away from going to the World Series. So gotta love, again, Coach Bartlett, having her on the show. You guys have heard her. I mean, in our conversations, just, building up the team. And yeah, we all know it was tough the first year. And it was, to having to just fill a roster to compete to, hitting the recruiting trail hard, obviously doing what she did at Texas. And in the broadcast yesterday, as you guys were watching, if you heard, but as they were saying, Coach White at Texas, you're going to come here as an assistant coach. You're going to compete for national championships, and then you're going to move on. and obviously Coach Bartlett has a great relationship with Coach, and it's Friday night they came out. I mean, it was a blazing, and they won 10 in a row, actually 14 in a row away from home, but they had got 10 in a row after, again, that tough series against Texas Tech in Tempe. And then they, as you guys know, Coach Bartlett and these girls, I mean, we've been lucky enough to have a few of them on the show, as, again, Brooklyn Ulrich, Ashley Mejia, Tanya Wendell. And then we've heard, post-game, a lot of post-game, pressers from them. And even hearing Yaya Acuna talk about, this team, and she got to play with her sister, and, just that tradition of being a Sun Devil. But man, getting to talk to these players, and I mean, seeing what Akinzie Brown has done in, this year, the last 2 seasons, but, in her career, to transfer, to come back here, Tanya Wendell, I mean, she talked about it. There was her dad, the team dad, Mike Wendell, we had him on the show talking about how, when she entered the portal, it was like it was just coming to ASU, and she had gotten an email, and you heard on the broadcast yesterday, Brad Denny, obviously friend of the program, the Speak of the Devils podcast, which has been, again, been going on for a minute, and Brad does a phenomenal job with that. But she said on there, and when I was talking to her, that and her dad said, ASU, it was the first to contact her. And, they went a little further on the show, but on the broadcast yesterday, but, 7:30 in the morning. And she literally just, just kind of what I think it said, fell to her knees, like she's saying, and just, was crying because she wanted to get back to ASU. She wanted to be a Sun Devil. Brooklyn Ulrich, we heard her say it the other day, before they took off for Austin, that they, was told that she, maybe wasn't good enough to play at ASU, went to Marshall, transferred back, and just in this year has just been electric, and just such a leader, and the energy and the vibe that Ashley Mejia talked about, who obviously Ashley, a sophomore. And I mean, she came, her and Tiare Ho Ching, part of the talented recruiting, the recruiting of talent that Coach Bartlett and the staff, did. And you get these, they're playing as freshmen, they're getting that experience. But man, it's just, again, awesome to see them and what they did. And I mean, again, shout out to Club Farrington, again, with the attendance. Yes, I mean, with the big games when Oklahoma came here in the middle of the Littlewood Classic, it was just a one-off because Oklahoma was headed down to Tucson to take on that team down south for a series. But Coach Bartlett, obviously, Coach Patty Gassel worked it out, and they came here, and it was just phenomenal. Again, phenomenal. Again, the energy, and again, what these girls provided, what these young women provided, and just electrifying the crowd and just getting it going. And I mean, that whole first month we get spoiled because in the beginning of softball season, a lot of the teams that you see come out here, I mean, you have some from California, but a lot of the teams you see come out here are from cold weather states. And in the beginning of softball season, it's not terrible there, but it's better to get, out west or somewhere warmer to play. And man, it was just it was a phenomenal ride. And I mean, like I said, the fans, but the play, like I said yesterday, I put this out there after the game, but for this team, and I mean, and I said yesterday, and like right after the game, again, of course, I was flustered, and it's like, oh, this team is good enough, to win. And like that picture of Coach Bartlett coming to get Kenzie Brown, who just, I mean, again, pitched a ton. I mean, that one at bat yesterday, I mean, it was a 17 pitch at bat, and again, you tip your cap, Kenzie Brown making the pitches and fouled off. It was a 17 pitch at bat, ends up with a triple and an RBI. And, it's one of those things. But like I said, I mean, Coach Bartlett and guys, like I said, I mean, yes, winning, breeds, obviously winning, can breed more success, obviously in recruiting, filling up, but and like I said, Coach Bartlett had injected her vision, but even huger, like set a culture, came in with a mindset. You guys know this, dominant player, had a hell of a playing career, obviously at Notre Dame, held many records for quite a while after she left. And, got into coaching, was at Ball State. Then, like we know, was an assistant at Texas and part of, like you said, going to a super regional and then winning a national championship and then coming to ASU with that mindset. And, yeah, I mean, again, it's and I've said from the beginning, like, obviously the tradition of ASU baseball, but softball, I mean, a tradition of winning and, getting to College World Series and yes, having, a few College World Series titles, but man, it's like I said, like her and like Coach Bartlett, injected her vision, but set the culture. And again, the mantra, the be elite, like you see in the tweets, it's, working to get that, but and that's what, again, I love seeing about this team. And I guess she's built, talented depth and the players, players from the beginning, but even, you relate to this year, have played with such passion, energy, and grit. You see they have each other's backs. You see the way they pick each other up, when you're at a game, but just, again, being around it, like they're never out of they never were out of a game this year. You never felt like, oh, okay, even, like you said, in the Texas Tech games in Tempe, like, okay, one hit there. And then, I mean, the second game, like Tanya Wendell with a huge, obviously, home run off Kennedy. And she got her again in the Big 12 tournament. I mean, the postseason Big 12 champs, you beat a 3 seed, a 2 seed, and a 1 seed. Like, yeah, that's flexing right there. But that's what I said. I mean, they played with such passion, energy, and grit. They have each other's backs and they play for each other. And again, they energized Tempe. And I mean, just the program again, and just the electricity around the program. I mean, again, coaches supporting coaches, and but just other programs. And it's not just tongue in cheek. It's one of those things that's huge. So huge shout out to softball. And I mean, this team, like I said, I will say this. This roster, which again, a few players from the portal, but I mean, obviously Nahonda Lewis, who's back from last year, but again, I want to shout out all of them because Nahonda Lewis, Avery Matroni, Aisa Silva, again, who transferred in this year from the school down south, and that lefty pitcher, again, when she needed to deliver, contributed, just absolutely money. Jasmine Marie Roberts, the freshman, hell of a year. I mean, Kenzie Brown, as we know, the dominator. Just over 200 strikeouts, just an All-American, first team, and then what she was able to do in these 2 years, like Coach talks about, overcoming injury. So Kenzie Brown, like Brooke Pyrowar, Katie Chester, again, junior who transferred from Missouri. Sydney Sines, who transferred from Oregon State. Emily Shep, who had a hell of a season, who also transferred from that school down south. Tiare Ho Ching, again, freshman to sophomore season. You talk about, again, the excitement's there. Corey Shull, the redshirt freshman from Queen Creek. Tequila Davis, Yaya Acuna, again, playing with her sister. Her sister had an extra year of eligibility, and they played together Yaya's freshman year. And then the freshman Mary Peyton Hodge, the pitcher from North Carolina, who, we saw her, and she got to learn and watch from the best. So it'll be very, very it's exciting to see that next year. Ashley Mejia, again, what she's done. I mean, even getting, like I said, talk to her, absolutely just the energy and everything, just absolutely love it. And then Ryan Brown, I mean, the junior who transferred from Tennessee, had a hell of a season. I mean, a lot of times, yes, as a pinch hitter, but delivered huge. Miko Lupi, I mean, we saw, again, yes, being the number 2 pitcher behind Kenzie Brown, but she just absolutely just has grown. And again, just another pitcher that can flat out bring it. Millie Roberts, who had transferred from Auburn. Sam Swan behind the plate, like that girl, junior from, again, Georgetown, Texas, which we heard a lot during, the last two, the regionals and the supers, because Georgetown being pretty much, not too far from Austin. And she had a lot of family friends. She delivered that. That bomb to center field that on Saturday night when they went back up 3-2, and you're thinking, oh man, but yeah, I mean, and what she's done defensively, like, awesome. Yazzie Avila, Kaylee Pond, I mean, the 6th year, again, she had those injuries at Cal, transferred from Cal, but man, what she meant to this team leadership-wise and lineup-wise. And then Tanya Wendell, I mean, again, Cactus High School, Peoria kid, transferred back from Utah Tech, and again, and Brooklyn Ulrich, again, Red Mountain, played for a very, very good coach in Red Mountain, and now she's again just the 1 year she had, but absolutely phenomenal. Just could not ask for better. Forks up to you, ladies. Again, you re-energized Tempe softball wise. Yes, get it. Coach leaves, a lot of players at the portal. Coach Bartlett comes in, and it's like, oh man, it's Pac-12, and then the first year, bumpy. The second year, okay, not as bumpy, and then you go into last year, first year in the Big 12, get to regionals, and you go to LA, and yes, it was tough. They were 2 and done, but then this year, let's win the Big 12. Let's overcome the injuries we've had all year and do that. So huge shout out to Coach Bartlett. huge shout out again, forks up to Coach Bartlett, the staff, the players, forks up. You absolutely rocked it. And like I said, we will have to, again, get with Brooklyn Ulrich as, again, she's going to co-host the show. So we're going to work that. I need to work that out. Going to work that out. But, yeah, that is coming up. But yeah, forks up to the whole team. Thank you for just, like I said, the grit, passion, energy you played with. And it was a phenomenal ride this season. And you guys, again, many a great highlights. So forks up to that. Baseball also, they are going to regionals. You guys, again, in the Big 12 tournament, beat Cincinnati, lost to West Virginia. They're a number 3 seed. They got Ole Miss. Again, I think I completely disagree. But you look at the top 16 seeds, and it's seeded teams. West Virginia 16, and like Kansas is 15. So no respect for the Big 12, which is a joke. But they'll learn. Hey, you got to play who you're going to play. We'll hear from Coach Bloomquist tomorrow. Again, this is shorter. And women's golf too, forks up to them. They advanced to today. They finished. They were in 7th after 3 rounds, and I mean, round 3, they absolutely crushed it. So, forks up to them as they keep playing. We'll have all this tomorrow. Plus, supposed to have a guest tomorrow, so don't forget that. But yeah, just wanted you to see this. Just putting this out there. Didn't go live for Memorial Day. But yes, all of you see it. So, but I'll see you tomorrow noon. You guys know it, 12 to 1, same bat time, same bat channel. I will see you tomorrow afternoon. But again, Memorial Day, for all that have served and lost their lives throughout time defending this country. Again, we thank you, families, the sacrifice that they've went through. Active members, obviously, thank you for your service. Thank you for protecting our rights and battling and doing everything you do on this Veterans Day. And again, yes, being a Sun Devil, Pat Tillman. Again, if like I've told you guys before and on this, we weren't BFFs, but getting to meet him, getting to talk to him, know him a little bit, and then just hear more from people that did know him more. Was around him a lot, like absolutely awesome. So Memorial Day, all that have served, all that have lost their lives, all that are serving, and in the thick of it, families, thank you for everything you have done for us. I will see you tomorrow, as you guys know. And actually on the way out, a big forks up to all military members, not just Sun Devil military members, but all military members on Memorial Day. Thank you for everything you have done for our country. And we will see you tomorrow. Forks up to all the military.
I went to Arizona State.
Right.
I'm a Sun Devil, man.
The 27-yard line. That's a great call. Blake Baker, Plummer will put it up, throws over the middle. Poole, touchdown. Red flag.
3rd down and 5. Levis swings it to Scatterboom. Scatterboom breaks defenders. Here he goes again. Scatterboom is the running back, and he is immediately met in the backfield, runs through the contact, and then throws a shoulder for good measure. Chuck this defense here. That is true. High in the air. Right center field. Brandon Compton. Welcome to 2025. On the other way. No going back. Got the drag. Walks up and down.
Edwards pulls off and buries it. Richardson drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her 3 right on the money.
flag out. Doesn't matter.